Hi, Amy Shaw here. I have some things on my mind. I figured I'd take a minute to share them with you. It is February 2nd, 2016. It's a beautiful day here in Austin, Texas. It's actually really warm. I'm in my car, obviously, and I parked under some trees. I'll show you just kind of what my view is out my sunroof. I'm so grateful. It's the first car I've ever owned with a sunroof, so I love it. Anyway, what's on my mind today is I wanted to share something I actually shared on my Facebook wall recently. It was a share from the Facebook page for ShamanTube, and it's a quote actually from a therapist. I believe her name is Mariana Caplan. I'm not sure if I'm saying her first name correctly or not, but here's the quote. She said, "We can pay people to clean our house, do our taxes, teach us piano, and fix broken bones, but nobody can do our inner work for us. Nobody. To truly take responsibility for ourselves, we must grow up psychologically and spiritually so we can respond to life as mature and authentic men and women." So I really like that because it got me thinking, and this is really what I want to talk about healing. I see a lot, I'm, once again, a 13-year cancer survivor, stage 4, 10 years. And I've had no evidence of disease since 2007, so it's been quite a while for me. By all accounts, I'm really a walking miracle. I'm in like a less than 5% survival category. There aren't very many women like me who've been 10 years out from a metastatic reoccurrence with no evidence of disease. And I've been a healer my entire life, and I do believe I healed myself. And I say that with utmost sensitivity because along this journey, there's been dozens and dozens and dozens of women that I have watched die. And so that's what's really interesting about this quote, because what I wanted to say is as a as a young healer, when I was very young, as a young woman, because as healers, we tend to be very, very empathic. We feel people's pain. We're very sensitive individuals, and we want to heal people. I mean, it just is part of what comes along with it. And so when you're young and you don't have a really good sense of yourself yet, what that can look like is it can turn into codependency and enmeshment, where we take on everybody's stuff and we want to heal it and we take like responsibility for it. That really comes from a ego sense. I'm coming down with a cold. My granddaughter visited over the weekend and she had a cold, and I tried to keep her from spreading germs, but unfortunately I'm on day 2 and my throat is like raw. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully this will help. Vitamin C drop. So yeah, I think, when healers, we tend to be, when we're young in our healing process, we tend to be codependent and very enmeshed and have a really hard time with boundaries with people. I know for myself, as I've done a lot of healing and matured and grown, I've realized that if somebody heals or not does not actually depend on me. And so that's really freed me up in a sense to fully manifest my healing. I've shared this story before. It's a big part of my testimony. In my early 20s, I went to a church retreat, a church women's retreat. And there was a woman in there who clearly had cancer. She, was going through treatment, had no hair. I didn't personally know her, but we were in the community room, and we were having a very intimate moment of group prayer. And during the prayer, I just heard very distinctly a direction in my head. I don't want to call it a voice because it wasn't like an audible voice that said, "Amy." It was just a very clear direction that came through. I would call it as a voice that told me to go lay hands on this woman and that she was going to be healed through me. I was terrified of that, absolutely terrified, because I was still in my ego self, and I felt like, what if it's wrong? What if it's not true? And I go lay hands on this lady and she's not healed. And then what does that reflect on me? And so I didn't do it. I stood in there with all those thoughts and I didn't do it. And on the way home from that, and then several days after, I just cried and cried because I thought, what is wrong with me? I don't have faith. And, that stuck with me. It stuck with me for years and years and years and years. Today, when I hear that call, I just do it because I've come to that place of realizing that how healing actually works is not from the healer. Healing happens within inside the person that needs healing. And as a healer, all I do is facilitate. I can help show people the way. I have healing hands, so through my hands energetically, I can transfer healing energies. But ultimately, the responsibility of healing falls on the person. And that's really why I liked this quote, and it really resonated with me. And I wanted to talk about this for other healers out here who are maybe experiencing this or some, at whatever point they're on in their own journey. That it's a process and that you do have to come fully into yourself and let go of your ego self and realize that you're not responsible whether a person heals or not. And if a person does not heal, that does not mean that you're not a healer. It just means that that person wasn't able at that time to receive the healing. So that being said, what also got me thinking a lot is that I have a lot of friends with breast cancer because, that's part of one of my circles that I am in. And many of them are stage 4, young women like myself, 45 and younger. And, they've struggled. And I've seen many of them who have prayed and prayed and prayed. Women of just enormous faith that believed a miracle could happen, that believed they could be healed. And they weren't. They passed away. When I say they weren't healed, I fully do believe that death itself is a healing, and so I don't look at it like they lost a battle, because that's not at all my frame of reference. But in terms of the worldview of what the world expects out of healing and miracles, they were not physically healed in their body from cancer. They passed away. Likewise, I see a lot of other, and some of these women had thousands of people praying for them. Likewise, I see women that are still struggling as well, that are going through that are calling out for prayer and saying they believe in healing. And I'm just telling you, as a healer, I know I'm going to be negative Nelly here. People don't like to hear this, but here's my perspective. Here's my path. Here's what I've learned as a healer who's healed myself and has also seen other people heal. Excuse me. Is that the fundamental problem with prayer is that when you're praying, your locus of control, they call it in a psychological sense, is external. So you're placing it out here and you're expecting something or somebody out here to come. And like when you're praying to God, you're expecting a miracle, yes, but you're expecting like this instantaneous thing to happen that you didn't do anything to work for. Okay, this is the mentality of the world that we live in, this microwave economy, this microwave culture where we want it now, we don't want to have to do anything for it. It's just become a very prevalent way that we conceive of everything. And I'm not saying it has to be hard. I'm not saying, that it has to be this long 20, 30-year process. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that that's not really how healing works, especially if you're dealing with something really serious like cancer. That is a very, very deep healing that has to occur for most people. And it's a process. And it in terms of like shamanism, I see the same thing, like a lot, the trendy thing now, right? Everybody wants to go to Peru and do ayahuasca. And they think they're going to have this amazing experience, this eye-opening psychedelic experience that transports them to, experience the oneness of all and, detach from their ego, and that they're going to come back from that and be miraculously healed. And some people do have that type of experience where they come back out from ayahuasca ceremony and they've seen things and felt things that have put them more in touch with themselves. And that's a beautiful thing, and I'm not discouraging it. But what I'm saying is that the part I think that's often missed, because we want this quick fix. We just drink this brew, we have this, 2-4 hour, wild experience, and then we're cured. In actuality, the truth of it is that a lot of people, they go and they do ayahuasca and they spend months, if not years, processing and integrating with those 2 or 4 hours or 2 week-long retreat, 7, ayahuasca ceremony, whatever it is that they've done, they spend a really long time processing and integrating it. That is part of healing. Believe it or not. So the healing actually does not come instantaneously. It has to be received. How it is received is through the processing, the working through, and the integrating. Okay, and that doesn't matter what the medium is, whether you're going to somebody who is doing energy healing and working with you, whether you're going to drink ayahuasca, whether you're praying, whatever you're doing, it's the same thing. You have to be processing and integrating like a medicine. Okay, and so it's interesting the timing of this, because today my new shaman friend, John Patrick Coleman, hi, I love you. Mwah. You're a beautiful soul. Love you. Absolutely. Posted a video about prayer, asking does prayer work? And it is a really short little video. He says absolutely prayer works because it's based on the law of attraction. Well, I love you. Love you. Did I say John Patrick? I think that's my brother's name. So if I did, I'm sorry. Patrick John Coleman. Right. Patrick John Coleman. Shaman, Illinois. Hi. Sorry if I did say it wrong. Anyway, Patrick, I love you to death, but I disagree with you on this because I'll tell you why. Number one, I have a long history in Christianity, and I would pray and pray and pray and pray and see no result. So I have firsthand testimony that prayer does not work. Second of all, I've also seen many of my sisters pray up until their dying last breath and gather around teams of people all around the world praying for them, and they've died. So, prayer does not work. I can sit here right now and pray, Lord, I want to win the lottery, please. I just financially need this abundance, and go in there and buy a lottery ticket, and I'm not going to win the lottery. So, prayer does not work. And sorry, I know, I'm negative Nelly, but let me explain to you why that is. Because how the law of attraction works is it's not based on the how, it's based on the desire, okay? So when you get too specific with how you expect it to work, the universe is not going to support that, because it reminds me of the Doors song, Soft Parade. I love the Doors. For those of you that see Jim Morrison as just a bloated, fat, drug-addicted, alcoholic, psychedelic, crazed guy, you don't even know. You don't even know him. Amazing shaman is what he was. But at the beginning of that song, Soft Parade, Jim calls out several times in voice, in a almost churchy, I want to call it a churchy voice. He says, you cannot petition the Lord with prayer. You cannot petition the Lord with prayer. I totally get what he's saying. You can't, because what we do when we pray, and the Bible even tells us not to do this. The Bible says to pray his will, but we don't. We pray for what we want, which is, I want to be healed from cancer. I want to live to be able to raise my kids. I want financial abundance. I want a new job. I want this. I want. And we're like little children making a Christmas list. And then we're petitioning, whether we're praying to God, we're praying to our spirit guides, it doesn't matter. What we're putting out there to the universe is this very ego-centric, me, what I want. That isn't always in alignment with what our higher self came into this life to experience, or how we came into this life to serve. So that's why, number one, why prayer doesn't work. Number two, why it doesn't work is that when we're so focused on the outcome of how we expect it to come to us, and we're not working on the actual energy behind it, then we contradict ourselves. An example I can have is like I can sit here and pray, or I can like use the law of attraction to say, okay, I'm going to set my mind on, I'm going to win the lottery, I'm going to win the lottery. So I fill out my numbers, I walk up to the door, I'm going to win the lottery, I'm just going to keep focusing, this is going to happen for me because I'm putting my thoughts out there, prayers or whatever. But in actuality, the second my hand hits that door to open the door, there's a little voice in the back of my head that whispers to me, you're not going to win the lottery. You're not going to win the lottery. You're not worthy of that. And so until you actually heal, the law of attraction in that sense does not work. Another example of this is like, again, my breast cancer sisters, sometimes I'll see somebody that's like praying out and they're claiming healing and they believe that God's going to heal them. And so they're praying and praying. But in actuality, in terms of the law of attraction, although they are praying in faith, they do have faith and they do believe, they're also terrified. They're afraid. They don't want to die. That's why they're praying. That's why they're calling out, I don't want to die. And so they don't really, that fear is actually, I can't even really say it's shadow because it's not. They are aware of it, but they're denying it. Because we live in this culture that if you have fear, then you don't have faith. And so if you want to project to people that you're a faithful person, that you believe God can heal you, then you can't show even this much that you have fear. Well, you can't trick the universe. You can't lie to the universe. You might be able to trick or lie to the person that's in front of you or the person that's next to you, but you can't lie to the universe. So, well, with your mouth, you're saying, I have faith and I believe I can heal and I'm praying out to God and God can heal me and I know this. At the same time, within you, there's a voice of fear. And so as long as you're holding on to that, that is what you're projecting out as fear. And so I'm not saying that women die and it's their fault that they die. And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that. Everybody's going to die and we each have our own time for doing that. What I'm saying is that this is why prayer doesn't work. This is why the law of attraction doesn't work. If you truly want to heal from cancer or any type of terminal disease, you have to fully accept without fear that you are going to die. When you get to that point of complete and utter surrender and your fear is gone because you've totally accepted this is my path and you're okay and at peace with it, that is when actually healing can begin to occur. As crazy as that sounds. And I think what happens is a lot of people think that healing is just, like I said, about praying and the locus of control is out here and somebody else is going to do the work for me and they're going to come in and save me. And it just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. The healing begins the moment that you can admit what is preventing you from healing, which is your fear. You're terrified. You're terrified of dying. And the only way to become unterrified of dying is to just allow yourself to die. To accept that I'm dying. That's not a lack of faith. To accept that you are dying is not a lack of faith. It's the beginning of healing. And so that is how that process works. That is how the law of attraction works with prayer. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear about that. As a healer, that what I help people to do is lead them down the path they don't want to go. And it seems contradictory, right? It seems to lack faith and it seems negative, but it really is not. It's the beginning of healing. So what the law of attraction is not about a specific thing that you want. It's about an energy that you're creating. And through that energy, that openness, you're drawing to you through your passion, through your joy, through your excitement, what it is that you're trying to manifest. So that's actually how it works. So unless you're starting from that basis of having that energy that you're putting out, you are not going to get back what it is you think you want. So what I have to say is that no, prayer does not work, and that's why it doesn't work. And healing doesn't work, and that's why it doesn't work. And the law of attraction doesn't work. And that is fundamentally why it doesn't work. So for most of us, because we've all come through childhood and adulthood, early adulthood with wounds, we have to heal those. And again, this doesn't have to be like a 30-year long process, But there does have to be some aspect of processing and integration that occurs. And I don't see that. It doesn't happen because we want the quick fix. We want the easy way. We want to skip. We want to take the shortcut. We don't want to do any of that. We just want it to come. And so then what we're doing is we're putting our locus of control out here and saying, somebody else out here, fix it for me. Fix it, because I don't want to do the work. Well, I'm sorry, but in my experience, it just doesn't happen like that. Now, there are people like John of God or, these really anomalous souls who are so anomalous, they're so rare, right, that there's hardly any of them. And these are the kind of people that can, lay hands on people or do what they do and solicit these super miraculous, totally radical healings, super miraculously. It can happen, but it doesn't happen very often, and there's a reason for that. I'm not going to go off on a tangent about what the reason for that is, but there is a reason for that. And it doesn't mean, that you lack faith. It doesn't mean that, healing wasn't supposed to be yours or any of that. It just means those people came for a very specific purpose. Part of that purpose, just briefly, is to show us what is possible, the potential that we have, where we possibly might be heading as we evolve, as human beings. But for right now, in this age, 2016, and where we're at, sorry, but you're going to have to put in the work. So good luck, and I'm sure that you're going to enjoy your journey and be greatly enriched by it, and that the work will definitely pay off. And just know that I love you guys, and I encourage you in that, and to be real about it, to be honest, and that is really the first step of it, is to be honest about your condition, whatever it is that you need healing from, or whatever that little voice is that's telling you, whatever, to really become observer of that stuff, to not judge yourself for it, but to just observe it, and to recognize that those are things that you need to work through, process through, and integrate the medicine of whatever medicine that is. So have a good day. I love you guys, and I'm sure I'll make another video, hopefully not in my car, but you never know. Bye.